So well, Mustafa, thank you so much for taking out time for my podcast. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
Fantastic. It's my pleasure having you together. It is my pleasure. Yeah.
And
Let's restart it.
awesome, awesome. So, Mustafa, let's get in this podcast, right? I really want to learn about your journey, right? Your journey of leaving your well paid job, right? Sometimes jumping into entrepreneurship, surviving for a very, very long time, and then moving to Silicon Valley, right? So, we'll be covering all those aspects. I think it will be a great learning for so many youngsters who want to get started, right? How to survive without raising a lot of funds, right? And then also utilizing your network, right, for the fundraising journey. So, and we'll also talk about your New York trip, right?
Sure.
The road trip to New York. That's
We'll do that. Yeah. We'll do that.
So, why don't you take us through your journey right from the beginning until your point to reaching to Silicon Valley? So, where you were born and raised, take us through your entire journey.
So basically, I born and brought up in a farming family. My parents are farmers. Okay, my father actually was in a small business in Abu Dhabi. So we are not. Our family is not well educated. We are a big family, but none of them are highly educated. And I was the one who actually passed the secondary school ever in my family actually. Okay, so I got into the school, but I was like a boy with enthusiasm on technology, very beginning. Okay, so I actually after my secondary school, my father put me into a vocational higher secondary course, which is a computer science. That's an early stage in Kerala. Computer is just starting, 89 batch. Okay, so I gone through the computer, and I like computer, and that's why I didn't learn anything other than computer, and I failed the exam.
Okay.
I actually failed the exam, and my parents want to actually continue my education, but I thought no, I will go for a job. I immediately got into a place called Calicut. Okay, there I got a job as a teacher, computer teacher.
Okay.
So I continue my journey as a computer teacher without pursuing my degree.
Okay.
So as far as I'm learning and earning, okay, because when you are teaching someone, you're actually learning that. So I learned programming. I started developing software. I developed my first software called KIMS, Complete Inventory Management Software, in 1991 for a pharmaceutical company, or not a company, pharmaceutical store. And my journey continues. And I created a Malayalam software in 1993 and started selling the software among the DTP, the shops, and making a lot of money at that time, like 5,000 rupees per day. Something like that. That's a lot of money because what happened is at that time no one has the Malayalam software. Only few companies they have the dongle, and you cannot copy it. So everybody is looking for the cheaper one. That 25,000 rupees was the price at that time for that software. Continue my journey, and 1994 my family took back to Dubai. Okay, so you are not supposed to be in Kerala because I make a lot of money. The money is not going good. Then they took me into in Dubai. I started looking for a job, and I got as a teacher job again in so my career started as a teacher. So
In computer science.
Computer science, computer programming. So I learned from all what I learned is by teaching others. Okay. In 1999, I got a job in Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. Okay. I had one incident before that, which is something which is interesting. I created the world's first social media website.
Okay.
All right. Before Orkut, before Facebook, before Twitter, before anything.
Okay.
In 1998, I created a social media website called onam.org. Online Network Association of Malayalis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was, at that time nobody called social media, because social media was that term was not, nobody called social media. Then I called Internet Club. Okay. And it was reported in a lot of newspapers. So we were like Malayalam newspaper and English newspaper and all. But unfortunately, because I am targeting Malayali community only at that time, it didn't go through, and I have to shut down after 1 year. Okay, then 1999 I joined Abu Dhabi National Oil Company as a web solution architect on a merit basis, because Abu Dhabi National Oil Company is the biggest company in Abu Dhabi, and they have, I mean, everybody go to UAE, they want to have a job in Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. So how I got a job there without a degree is because of the merit I got a job. But then they realized that I don't have a degree, then they said, okay, go as much you can, let's see how this goes. Then I developed a lot of software, I done a complete intranet and internet for the company. And in 2006, I had a problem because the company done an auditing, and I mean main ADNOC done an auditing and find out that I don't have a degree. Okay. Then I was about to lose my job. But at that time, I challenged myself, and I challenged the company, say I will get a degree from the world's 50th ranked university.
And which one was that?
That was Melbourne University, Australia, which is number 1 in Melbourne. I think today is ranked 32 or 28, always in between that. So I got not only a degree, a master from Melbourne University, Australia, which is Master in Management Information Technology. So that's what my journey. In 2014 or before that, I started an NGO to protect the children from the online vulnerabilities. That's what right after the Delhi gang rape, I done a research on why this is happening. Then I identified there are issues on internet content which is actually disturbing this. Then I started an NGO in India called Disk Foundation, and an NGO in UAE called Emirates Safer Internet Society in 2014 actually. Okay. And I am so passionate about doing that. I left my job in 2014 from Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, and completely started my NGO journey. It was an NGO journey. It is not a money making journey. Okay. But I was having some sort of revenue model which is expected to have revenue pumping into the NGO so that we can survive, but it didn't happen as we expected. 2019 I moved back to India and start my entrepreneur job journey, and by the time the COVID attacked and we could not do much on that. But 2020 my friend actually started a company called GeneXcel.ai. GeneXcel.ai is an innovative product which is it's similar to 23andMe in USA, which is basically to take out your saliva and develop a profile based on your saliva DNA.
Is that really possible?
Yes, it is.
You can identify everything about someone's background, history, just from the saliva?
Not exactly. Okay. We know the gene. Okay. The gene is identified, and based on the gene we know the person have some sort of what type of profiles that the person have, how the person can excel in it, how the person, what type of genomic sports he can go. So many things we can identify it. Today everybody talking about genomics. In Silicon Valley, you right over here at least you can find 20-30 companies all doing genomics. 10x Genomics, 23andMe Genomics, a lot of genomics company. So genomics and AI is the top notch words in the Silicon Valley. Everybody is using it. So what we can identify, a person have this particular gene, and the person who have that particular gene, this particular character, this particular trait. That is how it is defined. Based on that, our artificial intelligence algorithm will generate a report which you can identify what you are capable of, what you can do, what is your innate ability, your including your truthfulness can.
Okay.
but yeah, that is very tricky anyway. So that's when I found this particular application, we are giving a report, and let's think about how can bring this report into action. Today you are just giving a report, so how can we bring this report into action? That's where we thought of bringing a tutoring and mentoring app, which is we can develop it in Silicon Valley, and from the Silicon Valley to the world. That's how the GeneXcel is born. So this is where we are.
So how many types of genomics are there, or genes are there, so that you can identify characteristics, like 5, 10, 1,000?
No, there are many gene types are there to identify that, but we are not taking everything, because to identify, to do the research and all, it will take time. Okay, so there are, if you're specifically asking, I have to look into that, but we are identifying couple of genomics to identify the talent genomics, school genomics, and even say couple genomics, okay, which is very much used in Saudi Arabia. And okay,
It's an interesting term.
in India, particularly the Hindu brothers, when they are marrying, they are checking the horoscope, right?
Correct.
It is something similar to that. So what we are checking is not the horoscope, the gene between two couple. Based on that, we can identify whether they might have a problem with their chromosome matching when they get a child, with a disability or not. Which is happening in this community where they are marrying from the family, close family members. So very high number of autism children and Down syndrome and all because of the gene issue. So we can identify that and we can suggest whether to marry, whether not to do that.
I think that's a great thing to do, right? Before, I don't believe in horoscopes, right?
But this is a science anyway. This is science.
I totally believe that this is super important. So have you ever found any particular situation where you were able to identify upfront and you could?
Yes, we are doing that report now in couple of countries, even Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all. We are doing that. So it's an individual request. They're coming up with an individual request and asking us to give a report. We give the report. In India also we are doing. So and we have nutrigenomics, we have pharmaceutical genomics. So genomics is everywhere. Okay. So we come up with a model called talent genomics and sports genomics mixed together, and that's called school genomics. So what is school genomics?
Talent plus
sports. This is together is the school genomics we are tying up. No, it's not you can find it somewhere. We are doing it. Actually, it's a novel.
You're the inventor.
We are there. Yes.
Okay.
So what happened is, let's say for example you have a daughter and you are asking me to come and train your daughter mathematics as a tuition. Okay, I want to come and do tuition. So there are two ways I can do. One, I can come and teach your child with taking the book and start teaching. So I want to take a different step. I come sit with your child and talk to her and understand her capacity on learning maths. I want to understand how she is learning, what type of person he is. Someone is visual learning, someone want to write and learn, someone want to hear, someone want to view it. Kids are different. So if I go and identify that child, I take maybe 1 or 2 days to identify her aptitude and attitude and IQ and all. Then I go back and tweak my content based on the learning and the data. Then I come back and start teaching your child based on the profile of your child. Which one you think you will?
There's no doubt, it's a no-brainer, right?
So that's what exactly we are planning to do. So in genomically, we can identify the child's profile. Using that profile, we are generating the content, which we will use the generative AI to generate the content for that particular person. So it will be a very personalized education for them.
So you could identify who has higher probability to become Aishwarya Rai or MS Dhoni in the future?
Sort of. But we don't do the profiling as such that way. But what we do, we identify the child, we start giving the content, and we take the feedback. So reinforcement learning based on the human feedback on the AI will be doing. So we will tweak the content accordingly. So it is kind of evolving content, evolving modality. I'll give an example of mine itself. When I was in 7th standard, my maths mark was 0. Zero, literally 0. So when I failed in the maths, my father took me into the tuition center. And there is a teacher which I say he is my mentor. His name is Vikram. Okay, his name is Vikraman. Okay, so the Vikraman's teacher, he teach me maths according to my profile. At that time, not genomics, but he understand me and teach me. In 8th standard, I scored 100% mark. So 0 to 100%.
So what did he do different, right, to teach maths?
According to your profile. Because he understand me. I am a person who want to learn with a practical experience. So he started telling me stories. He started me correlating the real life scenarios about maths. I'll give you an example. We have a mountain in our place called Rairanallur mountain, which is very famous. It's very what do you call Hindu pilgrimage mountain. There is a god called Naranathu Brandhan there. Okay, so people go and worship every year. People go. So very very famous one. So he said we want to identify its height. So he used the trigonometry in mathematics, and we actually applied the real life scenario. I still remember that it is 192 feet height mountain.
And you identified the trigonometry concept?
Exactly. Exactly. So he understand me the way I am learning. He teach me that way. Okay. So today some teachers are doing that, and you can see the difference. So I didn't change. The maths didn't change. Only the teacher, the way teaching is changed. I got 0 to 100 mark. I can prove you with my record.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's what exactly we are now coming as a scientific model with the DNA and with the genomics.
So I can see how education is going to evolve in the future, right? It's not like everyone is going to 7th standard, studying the same curriculum in the same pattern. According to you, it should be based on a student or a kid's genomics, right?
Correct.
And to understand what's going to work for this particular kid.
Correct. Okay. And we are not only doing that this child is an engineer, this is a doctor. No, that's not the profile we do. So we know the child profile based on the content is created. Again, it will be recreated based on the feedback again. So it's not necessarily the child will learn as the AI suggests, but the AI suggests, get the feedback, the content will be created accordingly. So it's a very challenging step we are taking, I know that, but we are sure with the today's technology as the GPT-4 and LLM model and all those new things, we will be able to do it.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. So Mustafa, let's go back. I'm really curious to learn about that first social media platform, right, that you built. That's onam.org.
Yes. Oh, you remember it.
Right. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about it? How did that idea come? What features were there? Was it similar to our current Instagram, where you can send friend requests, send messages, and how long did it survive?
Oh yeah. Definitely, if you, I will share you definitely after the event the news clippings. Maybe you can read it. So it is in English and Malayalam, all language it was there. So I was putting the concept of bringing people together on online platform. Okay. You remember there is no such a platform were existing. Okay, at the moment. So then I started publishing. The people started coming to me. So at that time, Classic ASP was my programming language.
Okay.
Classic ASP. So people can log in, people can update their data, and some people don't have the scanner and all. What they do, they mail to me the photos and details. I will do that. So many people don't know how to do that. So we ask them, mail to me and I will do it. And we used to charge like, I think 100 dirham per year or something like that. Okay, which is about $20-25 per year. Okay, and people used to give me that much money. So probably my business model was not correct because I started charging people. Maybe people say, oh no, I don't want to pay. That could be one reason. One more thing, I started advertising also. So there was a guy who used to sell used car, buying from Dubai, selling in India. Okay, he used to do that. So I said, okay, why don't you publish this on onam.org? So he published that, and when you bring this car to India, so people call him and say, I want to see the car. He sent the URL to him. From Delhi, from Mumbai, he's started now. Expanding his horizon of customers. It was started at that time, but unfortunately, we didn't get the funding. I don't know the dynamics of the startup. It didn't work. So all things, whatever, and it's not friend request. No, it's not like that. You have your own profile, and somebody can search and find out the person and get their address. It's not like a connection. I haven't done that one. Of course, it's a very startup, but we couldn't do that. Yeah.
No, but that's really good to know about it.
I want to meet Zuckerberg and say, hey, not you. I am the one who created this.
And sometimes some ideas are just there before time, right? Maybe it was too early.
Yeah, it is too. Exactly. My friend used to tell me, Mustafa, you keep your idea, hold your horse, because your idea probably is not matured, so that the world will not accept it, or the society will not accept it. So, but what I do is I do it, it will not work, then I leave it and move. Later, I will find somebody else doing that. That's how the process. And even the GeneXcel, many people say, "Is this going to happen?" Because now,
Man, this is going to happen for sure one day. Because look, as a father, I can obviously tell that if I get two options, right, send your kid to like first grade without any on just a standard model, right, rather than doing any kind of evaluation, compared to this one where we have some evidences, right, I would always try this thing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So no, okay, so let's come to the next part. Starting your journey in entrepreneurship domain at a non-profit organization.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that. How can someone start their entrepreneurship journey in a non-profit company? How you make money over there, and probably what are the things that could make it sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe I have done a wrong decision. Okay, my family is very much against to that. I jump into things. Okay, that's why it happened anyway. It happened, and UN recognized us. The first time I visited USA with the invitation of FBI actually. Okay. So that was the first time in 2014 I visited their headquarters in Baltimore. That was the first time I visited. So all those things are good, but a NGO is very crucial, and make sure that you have enough funding before you're jumping into, or under you have disposable income to do that, which I actually done. I spent all my savings to this NGO, so I got into in a situation where I cannot move further. Okay. So that's a, I mean, that's I don't want to say a wrong thing I have done, because I don't want to say no, that it could have been done in a different
way. Yes.
Yeah. So anybody who want to do that, keep aside yourself stable, then get in there, or you make sure that you have secure fund to do that one. Yeah, that's my advice.
So it's very important to have your financial security in an entrepreneurship journey, right? Sometimes as an entrepreneur we think that we have to invest anything and everything, because what I've realized is as long as you have some financial stability, it gives you a lot more power as well, right? Even when you pitch to investors, you have a lot of confidence, right? If you have a good financial backing, and compared to if you have like a bankrupt account, right, it's very difficult.
And that can be read, because you won't be able to hide that, you know. Yes. So either investor will put you down, or they will not see the value in it. So I can see that. Yeah. So yeah, any new guys who coming into this, definitely make sure take a strategic and safe step. Yes. Yeah.
You know, a very successful entrepreneur told me, so serial entrepreneur told me, that the day you $1 million hit to your bank account, right, you'll have another level of confidence. You'll come up with new ideas, you'll be able to talk to investors in a much confident manner. So focus on having your financial stability.
Correct.
In parallel to building your company. Correct. And then you'll experience another level of...
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right? No, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, Mustafa, what was that moment in your entrepreneurship journey, or probably when you were in the job, right, at Emirates Oil Company that you mentioned, right?
Abu Dhabi National,
right, oil company. What was that exact moment that really inspired you to take a leap of faith into entrepreneurship?
Aditya, I think I was having the concept of PCR. Everybody talk about CSR. Okay, so I call PSR, not PCR, PSR.
Okay.
Personal social responsibility.
Okay.
So it's not only the corporate to have a social responsibility. Mm-hmm. Every individual should have a social responsibility. Mm-hmm. So people do that in different manners. Okay. So I felt one moment the God has given me the knowledge and the power to do something. Potentially I have to do something for the society. So I started talking to a couple of my friends that I have an idea to start an NGO. Everybody was discouraging me. So the problem with me is somebody discourage me, then I will challenge them and go.
Now I'm certainly going to do it, right?
So, with that note, I got into this particular event because of I've seen the kind of abuse happening online with our kids, but it is increasing because of the internet is penetrating highly and everybody is using. After COVID, it is much high. So there are capacity to be built among the nation, among the society, among the community. So I started looking what the West world is doing.
Okay.
So Europe and US, they are doing wonderfully well in that space, particularly the protection of children here and Europe, they are doing very good. So I started communicating with them. They inspire me to do something on that.
Okay.
They called me to Europe, they called me to US. I started, getting their way of doing it. Go back to India, give that particular knowledge among our law enforcement agencies, governments. That's how it's just inspired. But then later what happened is all my own finance burned out. Then I felt then I was running behind of fundraising. So then I have to put down my NGO. It's not on hold, it is minimize the activities because I don't have the fund. Now I am making the fund and putting a different strategy to come up with the NGO. Definitely I'll continue with the NGO, but before that I have to have my own fund and my own revenue.
Any business figure that inspires you?
About GeneXcel?
About GeneXcel, or just for the entrepreneurship to develop something new, something innovative like GeneXcel?
Yeah. So what do you mean by business figure?
Like any other entrepreneur that's like your idol, that's an idol for you.
Kind of an icon where I think is a role model kind of. Yeah. I mean, everyone who's successful, like definitely Elon Musk, that's one of them. And I've been inspired by Narayana Murthy and Azim Premji and all, because Tata, of course. Tata is not a person who developed something. It is inherited basically. But definitely, business means you have to think the social commitment. So anyone who doing social commitment for the people, that's what inspiring me. And no matter whatever you do, whatever money you make, if you don't have the commitment to the society and the world, that's no
so
use.
that impact is really, really important for you.
Yes, exactly.
Now that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and were there any hobbies or interests that you had before starting your entrepreneurship journey that proved very, very helpful once you started your company, or first as a non-profit and now GeneXcel?
Hobby for me is traveling. Definitely, I travel a lot. So even sometimes my kids say, you are doing all these things for traveling purpose only. Yeah, but the traveling is, so it helps me to communicate with, because I go to any places, I don't plan it actually. That's an unplanned travel. That's how I do. Okay, let's go. Yeah, put the bag and go. That's kind of travel I like it. And wherever I go, I like to drive into the villages, going into the grassroots level people, talking to them, sitting with them, communicating. So definitely that helps me a lot in business communication, because I can talk to anyone, even I don't know the language, still I can talk. You just need the language of the mind, language of the heart. Yeah. So that helps me a lot, definitely. But traveling is one of my major hobby, and I do reading little bit on ideologies, what people think about that, what people think about this, dialogues in between. These are the things. Yeah, I love it.
Any specific trip that you remember?
Oh yeah, the recent trip, we done a road trip from San Francisco to New York.
Tell us about how long does it take?
It took 13 days. My colleague, my friend who came from India, who have a company, IT company, who have basically have a lot of customers in US, and we common friends also in US. So we thought of going and networking with them and to establish our foot on US. So we traveled from San Francisco to LA to Santiago, and then Arizona, New Mexico, Dallas, Missouri, Indianapolis, Ohio, and Illinois and New York, Pennsylvania. Yeah,
like 13 days long trip.
New Jersey. Yeah, it was 13 days trip, and we were like, we didn't plan anything much. On the go, we find the hotel, take a room, sleep there, morning start, and roaming around, meeting the people, and it is like business plus little pleasure.
And you drove for like 4-5 hours every day, or more than that?
No, more than that.
More than
6
that?
hours on an
6
average.
hours.
Yeah.
Which any particular state that you or city that you liked most in your
state? Arizona.
Arizona?
Yeah.
Why
lovely, lovely. It's beautiful. It's a very special terrain I haven't seen anywhere in the world. And
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon, and
Right.
yeah, and more, the original tribes. I have happened to meet a couple of tribes there, so you really like it. And yeah, and of course, California is a place of inclusion, and California is a place of pleasure.
Yes.
But when it comes to the other part, it is more like cultural places. Yeah. So it was an amazing trip, and anyone who is in US, I recommend everybody do one trip at least once in a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, once in a while, because you definitely have to go through various places. US is very, very big, but the beauty is, you can travel without much hassle. Okay, you will find hotels, you'll find food, road is good. Yeah, so easy.
And it's very famous, right? To go from San Francisco to New York, right?
So
coast to coast.
Yeah, so many
You'll
people
find
do
a lot of
that.
people.
Cross country driving is
Cross-country
something. Yeah, but many people goes in the north part, and even some of them are in south part. Yeah, it's nice.
Do you think that you should have come back driving from New York?
No, of course not. Because there's no fun actually. It's one-way drive is always good. Otherwise, you must have enough time, at least a month time, so that you can go 15 days and coming back 15 days.
Probably once you sell GeneXcel, right? You retire.
No, why to retire? Now there's a concept of what they call workation.
Oh, workation.
Yeah. That's a concept of, now you can work from anywhere. So let's say, for example, if your job demanding a work time of 4-5 hours, okay, you can think of traveling. Okay, 4-5 hours, you are in front of the computer, finish your job, continue your trip. You can do all your tourism along with it. So
I've seen a lot of people doing this in RV.
this is what I want exactly. We done it in Europe actually. RV trip, we done it in Europe. Two trip. One was from Paris, and we drove like 3,000 kilometers.
Okay.
The other one was from Frankfurt to the south part. So a team of 8 people, 2 RV, 4 and 4 in both RV. We traveled.
And everyone was also worked during the trip? Or that was
No.
vacation?
That is like leave the work and go. Yeah. So that was back in 2016, and then after that, I want to do an RV trip in US. Next time, definitely. Yeah, we'll do it together. Why not?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Mustafa, let's talk about fundraising, right? Which is, both of us are in Silicon Valley.
Right.
Very famous to raise funds.
Yeah.
People think that, okay, come to Silicon Valley and you'll get a few $1 million, right?
Right.
What's been your experience raising funds here in Silicon Valley?
Right.
How is it different from your experience in other places, right?
Right.
You've lived in India, in Abu Dhabi,
Right.
in Europe as well, traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Now here in USA.
Right.
What's been your experience like?
Fundraising, I would say it is a lucky, more than it's natural. It is more than, I would call it's lucky, and it is incidental. Okay. It is easy to raise fund in Silicon Valley than other part of the world for particularly technical projects, because technical project you won't be able to show your assets, you won't be able to show your ROI. Yesterday there was a discussion. My friend was asking, what is your ROI? So I said, look, we don't talk in ROI, we talk in valuation. What type of valuation your investment will go in next X years, not ROI, because ROI normally come from the asset-based business. That's what my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. But of course, we do have ROI in this business, but that is not XX, 10x or 5x or sometimes 100x, depends upon, because your total addressable market is. For us, our total addressable market is 124 billion US dollar from big money, 2022 to 2027. Okay, so you have the fund there, you have the money there, you have the market growth there. Now you need to equip with your technology, equip with your strategy to go and grab it. How much you want? 1 million, 1 billion, 2 billion? This is up to you. This is up to you. So, are you capable to go and get it? It's like, the ocean have the fish. Okay. Now, do you have a big, fishing ship? Go and get more. If you have a small boat, you'll get less. That's a thing. So, but here people understand. You all talking about anywhere you go, people talking about the startup, fundraising, innovation, idea, which you don't get it in other part of the world. All right. So they understand the concept of it. So all what you need to do, which we are now working on, is to make a sellable MVP. That's a crucial part, which we are trying to do. I mean, our one portion of the product is done already with this Genomics. Now the AI we are developing MVP. So we are posting the fundraising for the time being. We are just waiting for the MVP to get developed, and then we will have the next round of fundraising.
Any interesting encounters with investors so far, where someone probably rejected your idea or probably praised too much but didn't give money at the end?
Yeah, I think I would say straight away when you go to an investor, there is three type of investors. They want to see the traction before they are investing.
Okay.
So the question is, how can I show the traction without money? So there are very few investors that take a risk of putting money into the early stage, projects and early stage ideas. Particularly, our idea is more innovative and more people say, is it going to work? That. So that's why we are getting little bit, kind of saying, wait a little bit. So that's why we want to now show, hey, look at this is working.
Okay.
Then we will go back to them. So that's what we are waiting. So depends upon connection is really matters. If you have a very good connection, definitely you will get the kind of investment easily,
or at least like the first meeting.
Right. Reaching out to the right investor on the right pitch is also important.
What one thing that I've realized being in Silicon Valley, you have a lot more opportunity to get rejected by investors. Right. I was looking at a list of available investors in Bangalore. There were about like 300 active investors. Whereas when you look in Silicon Valley, there are like 3,000 active investors. Every month, 10,000 new millionaires are added to the list. So raising an angel check of like say 50K or 100K shouldn't be a big deal. Right. Compared to if you're living in Bangalore or probably Delhi, I think there are a lot more options available there. But that's what I love about Silicon Valley. You can get rejected 100 times. I was rejected by like...
But still you have another 1,000 people.
35,000 startups new startups gets registered in Silicon Valley every year. 35,000, right? And only I think 2,500 or get like or any kind of funding, not just seed, but like Series A, Series B, or C. Right? So this is the interesting. How's your experience like raising funds outside US? How do investors behave there?
I mean, there also IT business fundraising is always a challenge. Right, because it is you have to show the traction. IT business idea will not work. You need to put that idea into action. You need to show the idea as a revenue model, then people will fund. Right. So I mean in Dubai and all, if you can really have some good idea which is in action from US particularly, then definitely a lot of people are ready to fund in Dubai.
I heard there are so many rich people in Dubai.
Of course,
you can get funds easily. Is that true or not?
Depends. There are fund. There are people ready to fund, but depends upon the idea, depends upon the project. Yeah.
Okay, so are there actual venture investors out there, or just rich people with money?
No, there are rich people definitely.
Uh-huh.
Now they're becoming into the venture ecosystem, VC ecosystem, angel investor ecosystem, so that their fund is perfectly managed. Before anybody goes, they the people, rich people, not only the sheikhs and the rich UAE nationals, the Indians are rich now.
Okay,
a lot of
really?
Indians are rich. A lot of US people are there living there, rich people. So you can get the funding, but before it's like on a personal note people give. Now everyone is getting into the VC ecosystem, so you have to go through the VC ecosystem so that the due diligence and your project is vetted properly. So yeah, I mean that's good for us, So otherwise it will have a problem that you are engaging with a personal note and you will get into trouble also.
That's problematic, right?
Yeah.
Where you get into exact venture environment,
Correct.
they know may work, may not work,
Correct.
right? It's a risky investment.
Correct.
They know. I remember one. So there's a rich guy back in Gurgaon, right? He owns like a few $1 million.
Right.
He wanted to invest in my company, but then his question was, okay, when I'm going to get X number of returns. Right, in how many years?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, there is no guarantee, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You may get, you may not get.
Yeah.
Right. So having that mindset is really, really
very important. Very much. You can do that on a asset-based business.
Yep.
So there are investment on real estate in Dubai. So at least your asset is there. Or a investment on hospitals, investment on hotel.
Yep.
So your asset is protected. So your capital is up to some extent is protected. So this is how the less risk investors were going. But IT investment definitely you have to rely on the valuation.
Exactly. So Mustafa, we all know challenges are inevitable part of any startup journey.
Correct.
Do you remember any specific moment in your entrepreneurial journey where you came across like a big challenge, right? And you had to make a decision. Okay, how am I going to survive in this situation? And what did you learn out of it? Any specific time or story that you could share with us?
I would say when the GeneXcel we started, I mean, I don't call it as a challenge, but I call it as an opportunity.
Okay.
Any challenge is an opportunity.
Exactly.
So what happened is we discussed we'll raise the fund from India and we'll create it in India. Then we'll move on to the rest of the world.
Okay.
So I take a decision saying that no, let's do it from US itself. Let me move to US. Okay. So my friends say, nah, you like to travel, that's why you're going to US. Okay. So I said, okay, you're thinking that way, but let's see what happened. I mean, everybody now appreciated. We come here, we cracked the company, we started the company, we established it. Now we are in a plug and play tech center. I got a lot of networking. So we are ready to go. All what we need to do is create the MVP, and because the creating MVPs now is very crucial for me. Why? Because couple of investors we discussed, they are asking huge stake, which I don't want to share now. So this is why, because one part is done, the other part is yet to be developed. So we said, wait, we'll come back. Okay. Well, let us do the MVP. So now we are on a MVP stage.
Okay.
Once we have the MVP, then we go to the same investor, then situation is different. You know. So that's a challenge we faced, and I maneuver the challenge by flying in, and to be frank, when I step into San Francisco, I know nothing. No one, no person I know, but I just had a friend who is online. He said, okay, I'll host you for a couple of days until you get a accommodation. There I started. It's all started 3 months back. Today I have a very good community here, and talking to people. At least we can hang out outside and really
now doing this podcast here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Within 3 months. So this is a place of opportunity.
Exactly.
This is the real American dream. Start from Silicon Valley.
Somebody told me that an American dream is just not to buy a home here on 20 years mortgage.
Yeah.
Rather than an American dream is to start a company and get that freedom.
Exactly.
Right? That's a real American dream.
Exactly. Right? And the way this particular society is supporting, and how, what are the support you get from the government, so what are support you get from the ecosystem, that's what you can capitalize to achieve your American dream, you know. So yeah.
So Mustafa, while now you are focusing on developing MVP,
Right.
Any customer interaction that really impacted you, where you could see, okay, my product is going to have a very positive impact, right? Someone said, okay, give this product to me and like you have my money.
Right. Not yet, okay, but two customer for this product is one me and one my co-founder.
Okay.
So we done our testing and we excited with the result. And when I see the result, when he see the result, we say we want to have this result to the next generation. That's how we started the company. Okay, so our story itself is really matter. Now, as I said, we have in one of my other friend who tested with the 23andMe and given the data, okay, raw data, and we created a report based on his raw data tested in MP3. He was so excited because 23andMe is not giving that level of report, because 23andMe is doing ancestry and health report. We are going much ahead of a lot of reports, you know. So he's so very happy with that. Yeah.
Okay. And any specific personal habit or ritual that helped you in your entrepreneurial journey? Like, how does your day look like?
Focus up to very high end focus on, because I keep everything aside now, because even I mean, I'm away from the family for the last 3 months. I'm missing them, really missing them. This is the first time I'm having such a long gap without them. But today I have some time, even though there's a painful situation, but I have some time which I can concentrate and focus on the product. And so my personal habit is I think about that in all the time, and a little bit on, you know, if things are not going in that direction, change a little bit strategy, move into the direction which is going. So I'm ready to adapt the situation, you know, ready to adapt and tweak according to the situation.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, Mustafa, it's great learning about your journey, right? What you're building. Personally, very excited about it. What's your final piece of advice for someone who wants to jump into entrepreneurship but hesitant, right? Leaving a well-paid job, it's very, very difficult. Any specific advice that could motivate people?
Right. So, this is from my life learning. You get into the entrepreneurship thing, but keep a small revenue coming into your account before you're getting there, so that you will be in a more powerful, strong situation. As you rightly said, when you are sitting in front of the investor, if the investor know your desperation, things will go into different way. You say, hey, you want it, take it. Otherwise, I don't have much time. I'm leaving. If you have that feeling, that's a different story.
And you can't fake it.
You cannot fake it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So for that, if anybody want to do that, make sure yourself and your family is protected. You have the revenue coming into, and you even without this particular product and revenue, they are survive. Then go ahead.
Yeah. I also think a lot of times that because media has made raising venture capital money so glamorous, right? There are a lot of startups, they never raised money, but then they never got featured into Forbes and other Business Insider or the big magazines, right? And if there is a startup who raised like $5 million, not making revenue, not profitable, is featured everywhere.
Correct.
Right? So somehow this is also not going in the right direction.
Correct.
If you can build a startup that is profitable, you can run it by yourself without being dependent on venture money. Venture money is great, right? To scale.
Yeah.
But it's not great to survival, just for the survival.
True. It is the organic way of growing it. But sometimes in IT business, it won't work in that way, because you need to have a speed to market and scale. You know, scaling is an integral part of IT business. You cannot scale like organic scale. You need to push and scale. So to push that, you need fund. So it's like you've done it, and scale, then you go for a steady and organic growth. But what happens is, when you scale, get a funding, then you get the next round of funding, the next round of funding, and many companies are failed because of that. There are many examples you can see in Silicon Valley. They raised billions of dollars and now they are going down because they raised the billions of dollars inorganically. So which we can't do it. So scale it and goes in a stable growth. Okay, because without scaling you won't be in a break-even mode. You have to keep your company on a break-even mode. Always immediately get into a break-even mode. So you have a revenue, you are running with the revenue. Now you are raising the fund to scale, only, not for the next valuation. That's what everybody trying to do, which is not the right model. I would say
sense.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
So this is a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, Mustafa, for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
So much
Thank you very much, Aditya.